Jason Serafian with Stream-Flo, and we are here on the Stream-Flo of Consciousness podcast, and we are fortunate enough today to have Dr. Kristie McLin from the University of Utah Forge Project. So welcome and thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Fantastic to have you here in this forum today. We are at the World Geothermal Congress, which it has been happening every 5 years, but I think due to the eyeballs on the space, it is now happening in 3 more years in Kenya, I believe. But
absolutely.
so we're stoked to have you here. But can you give us a little bit for those that don't know, that are sleeping under a rock? We're going to have all kinds of puns today. What your background is?
Right. I'm a geologist by background. I've been involved in geothermal for many years. I did my master's degree project and my PhD focused on geothermal and worked as a consultant in the industry for several years. Geothermal was a little bit slow.
Yeah.
Just
I
a
mean,
little while, even just a
outside
little
of this
while
modern
ago.
era, like I joke with
Yes,
people, it's like, in the 80s or 90s, if oil got really high, it would be popular for 6
yes,
months. And
exactly.
now,
That is very
yeah,
true. And yeah, when I got into geothermal, the thought was that, well, we need to replace oil. There's not enough oil.
right.
And
I
then
remember
the
that. Yeah,
shale revolution took place.
exactly.
And
Everybody's getting the timeline now. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I ended up going into oil and gas.
Hmm.
And so I was in that space for 14 years.
Right.
Learned a lot of really important, impactful things that helped me be more ready to take on the role I'm in now. For example, I was a water management project lead for 3
Handy.
years with ConocoPhillips in the Permian Basin.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that was in the very beginning of the unconventional development out there for the company. And so it really was ground up. How do we manage
Pioneering it.
this
Yeah, exactly.
system of water? And so that was really formative for me and helped me understand the things that are now helping with the current stage of Utah Forge development. So Joe Moore, who was the initial PI
Hmm.
of Utah Forge, was my mentor and advisor in my PhD program. And so it's great to come back full circle and be back at University of Utah and be working the Utah Forge project.
And you have taken the reins officially from
Absolutely.
Mr. Moore. Yeah. So,
Yes.
I mean, how do you think your approach will be different? Will you keep some of the things that he has built over the years, or do you have like your own thoughts on how this moves forward? Or
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean, this project exists largely in part because Joe had the passion for
hmm
it and really saw the vision for what could be done. So a lot of what we're doing now is a carryover of that. I definitely see. I would like to see a continuation of the site as a test bed. Really trying to go into more challenging, deeper depths, higher temperatures, testing new technologies as they're developed, and readying them for commercialization and
hmm
immediate uptake in partnership with industry partners.
Now, for those people that don't know what Forge is, can you explain a little bit of that and what you guys do and all those things in
Yes.
relation with the university?
Absolutely. So the Forge project, initially proposed by DOE, Forge stands for Frontier Observatory for Research in Geothermal Energy. And back in 2014, the concept was developed that there are new technologies, new techniques out there now that could be applied to enhanced geothermal systems,
Mm.
also known as hot dry rock. So essentially, you go to a place that does not have favorability for the conventional hydrothermal geothermal systems that have natural fractures
hmm
and water that permeates through those natural fractures, picking up the Earth's heat and bringing it to shallow depths. So much of what you see in the US right now in power generation in geothermal is that conventional hydrothermal system approach. Enhanced geothermal essentially takes hot rock with no permeability and no natural water percolating through the system, and then we make the reservoir,
You give it the
essentially.
permeability.
That's right. We make the permeability, we inject the water, and we cycle it through the system to extract the heat. And so DOE said, we think that this is the time to take some of these technologies that have been developed and try enhanced geothermal systems again. And so the project was awarded to Utah to
Hmm.
build this test site in 2018. And since then, wells have been drilled. The first highly deviated geothermal well that was drilled, stimulated, and circulated happened at Utah Forge. And so successfully shown that EGS is here from a technology standpoint. Now, the next phase is really about bringing that cost down and
Okay.
optimizing technologies and bringing new approaches in for even higher temperatures.
Yeah. And it's fascinating to go out to the area where you guys are in Utah because there's sundry different energy sources out there, right?
Yes,
You've got
absolutely.
wind and you've got solar and
Yes.
you got a pig farm and all these
Yes,
things. It's
yes.
crazy.
It,
Yeah,
it
it's a
well,
great asset.
yeah, and it's Utah's renewable energy
Yeah.
corridor. And so it offers a lot of opportunity for testing all of these different
Hmm.
technologies, but also eventually perhaps some hybrid approaches that couple different types of energy production together.
Now, because you guys are basically tip of the spear, right? I mean, you
Yes,
canary in the coal mine, whatever you want to call it, like really developing these early on proving points for geothermal. Have you yet seen some of the stuff you've done in your earlier wells be transferred to industry and utilized by other operators around?
absolutely. And, right next door to us
Hmm.
is the Cape Station project. And
I'm not familiar.
and that is Fervo
Fervo,
Energy.
Fervo.
And
Oh, Fervo. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, small little company. They
yes,
do a few
yes,
things.
they
Yeah.
they just did this IPO thing.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, they are basically there
Mhm.
right
Yeah.
next door utilizing the data that was produced in assessing the forge site, characterizing the
Right.
reservoir, and then the approach to drilling and fracturing. They've been able to adopt it directly.
Yeah.
And as we develop new technologies, we do hope that we continue to be able to find that early adoption pathway because we're testing things relevant and immediately necessary to the industry while also having a vision towards the next step forward that's too risky for industry
Hmm. Yeah,
to
yeah.
pilot on
Which is
their
kind of
own.
cool, right? Yeah.
Yes,
We could
absolutely.
just, we're jumping out without the parachute and we'll see what
Yes,
happens.
exactly.
But it's not just industry cats, right? Like you guys are
Yes,
also working with other universities and
yes,
other little companies. Like, who have been some of your favorites to work with out of that? Because I know that on the last well, you had, I don't know how many partners, but it's just
yep,
really cool that you've got all these great collabs.
right,
Let's see if we can structure that one with all these
exactly.
different organizations. Talk a little bit
Absolutely.
about that.
Yeah, the Utah Forge Project has a research and development element
Hmm.
where parts of our funding are then sent out to other groups, universities, companies, to develop new tools, technologies, approaches to data integration. That has been spectacular. Even our circulation tests that we ran
Yeah,
last year were in collaboration with Texas Tech
exactly. Yeah,
University and California State Long
yeah.
Beach. And the results of those tests then informed our model updates that we used to predict when we would see thermal breakthrough, declining
Hmm.
temperatures on our upcoming circulation tests that we plan to run for an extended period of time. So being able to directly integrate with this vast resource of scientists and engineers throughout academia and industry has essentially been the magic of Utah Forge.
Right. And it's interesting too to watch how the whole octopus happens because you work with Texas Tech, let's say, and then
Yeah.
they go to Stanford and they present on the paper,
Yes.
right? That also fortifies what you've done out there. So it's so
Exactly.
fascinating to watch the whole thing just kind of snowball
Yes.
and all around the country and around the world and get the word out. And so you have another project coming up, I think probably
Yes.
if
In
that's not too much
imminently,
imminently,
right?
so end of the year,
Yes.
beginning of the year, something like that.
Well, we're actually commissioning our surface facility for our upcoming circulation test right now.
Right now, very exciting.
Hopefully, we're able to kick that off in the next couple of weeks. And That is, we're planning to circulate, we expect around 4 months, but we're going to circulate until we see
Sure.
thermal breakthroughs.
Yeah.
So a consistent temperature decline. After that, we do plan to drill another well, which will be end of this year, early next year.
And do you think, did you know yet? I presume you do, because I know these things take a little time to
Yeah,
plan, but what technologies you're looking to test with the next one?
absolutely.
And if you're not allowed to talk about it, then
No,
that's fine.
absolutely.
Okay.
We're very open and interested, of course, in partnership and collaborations in developing this out. But one of the main things we're testing is the well configuration.
Hmm.
So, what we would like to do is we're going to step out to the north
Okay.
and we're going to be at an elevation in between our two current wells. So, our injector well is down here, our producer's up here. We're out here to the north and we're looking to do a distance of 600 feet at the heels of the well. And that's right where the wells kick off. And then 300 feet at the toe. And part of why we're doing that is we're looking at ways to mitigate that heel bias that we're seeing
Hmm.
in our current wells, where our flow is predominated by those upper stages in our wells. Another thing we're going to test is sliding sleeves.
Okay.
We did plug and perf completions, one variety of completions on our first wells. We would like to test a different style of completion on these wells and compare the two. Um, we're also going to be looking with those further distances, how we can essentially monitor both injection and production with fiber optic sensing.
Okay.
And so we have, and speaking of partnerships, we're working with Mukul Sharma and then also Shell
Yeah.
in
Again. Yeah.
developing this, as well as Dana Jurek is a fiber optic expert. So we really enjoy people bringing unique challenges to us and ideas, and then working with them. How can we execute this? How can we think through, what are the most important things for us to monitor data
Of
wise
course.
to get that result. And so these collaborations really strengthen the results, that, it would be very difficult for us as a very small team,
Yes.
to know everything,
Sure.
to be able to
There's a
de-risk
lot to
everything.
do.
So we can leverage the larger community for those higher impact results.
Well, in the spirit of promotion, do you have like a wish list of organizations or companies that you'd like to work with? And if they're watching, then they can reach out to you,
Yep.
or certain angles of technology that companies might be interested in pursuing that you're like, hey, let's go ahead and do that on this next well. Do you have anybody that you're considering?
I mean, we field calls almost weekly, probably even a couple times a week, from technology providers who
Hmm.
would really like an opportunity to test at Utah Forge. So for us, we're just very
You have to
open.
swat them away.
No. Yes, but no. We really like to hear what's out there and what will challenge our view on where we think technologies are. Definitely, we would like to have ESP.
Okay.
We'd like to have a pump on our production
Okay.
well upcoming. And so we're
Does everybody hear that?
designing, yes.
Okay.
So we've actually gone back to redesigning our well to match the ESPs that are on the market. However, having other opportunities, different sizes of casing that can work with
Okay.
ESP at these higher temperatures would be great. And that's something we're looking to do to mitigate water losses in the subsurface. So we hypothesize that if you're pumping on the production well, you're pumping on the injection well, you'll actually see more of the water go from injection to production.
Hmm.
And that is a huge economic driver for enhanced geothermal systems to mitigate those losses of water, and a huge sustainability issue in western regions of the US where water is
Yes.
already scarce.
Yes. So to that point, do you ever foresee the Forge project stepping aside from EGS and focusing on a GGS or an AGS or a super hot situation or anything like
Yes.
that, like sampling something else?
Absolutely. And one of the ideas is that we would go the next step deeper to super hot temperatures.
Hmm.
The reason for that is that we're a great stepping off point from going from the volcanic shallow
Hmm.
super hot into still shallower than most parts of the US, but that next step deeper. So we're talking in the 6 kilometer range, maybe rather than the 2 kilometer
Yep.
range. And so if you really want to have geothermal everywhere, you need to progress to where it's hot, but you have to go deeper so that you can get to where it's not as hot, and you have to go twice as deep.
So, looking out for length, I mean, do you think that as you look out years down the road, do you find it remains the space? Do you find geothermal space remains a all boats rise situation, or do you think that one of the disciplines will dominate globally over the other
I
current modern geothermal styles?
Yeah, I think it's an all boats rise.
Yeah.
The data that we're collecting at Utah
Hmm.
Forge is relevant to every style of geothermal. I think we're going to have to take an all of the above approach
Hmm.
based on surface constraints, subsurface constraints, public perceptions, and just the needs of the local areas that we'll be trying to build geothermal
Right.
out in.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's huge opportunities in subsurface cold and hot storage.
Hmm.
I think there's huge opportunities in hydrothermal. Continue to expand and improve hydrothermal with oil and gas and EGS
Yep. New
technologies.
technologies.
EGS, of course, and the deeper, hotter we can go, the better. And then I definitely think there's a lot of opportunity as you get to the super hot for the AGS technologies
Yeah.
as well. And so
Sort of
everything,
use what you have.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Just like oil companies will produce the style of oil and gas asset that they discover,
Exactly.
we need to be technology agnostic in trying to develop the right geothermal for the right location.
Yeah, that's great. And so, where do you see the space, the geothermal space? Let's call it 10 years out.
Hmm.
And that's a long road considering how much has accelerated in the last handful of years, right? So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Well, and to that point, I think it's definitely too soon to declare victory and
of
say
course,
all
of
the
course.
research and development is done. We're just going to commercialize now. I,
No,
I think it's very
always learning.
important.
Yeah,
Exactly. I think it's even more important that we really push hard on the gas at this phase,
absolutely.
because we need to take advantage of the interest, the momentum, the excitement, and we
The
need
political environment, which is friendly on both sides at the moment. So, ride it out.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
And then we also need to reduce costs
Yeah,
because the current the current commercialization that's going on right now is depending on a very high price and a high demand. But what we need
but
to
it's also
do
high spec equipment currently too, right? And so
exactly.
that's where it's interesting. I've seen, we're seeing industry move towards specking out higher stuff. And
Yes.
I've had other folks that I've chatted with, and they're like, "Can you do 1,000 Fahrenheit?" And I'm
Yes.
like, "Let's get to 400 C first, guys." You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I appreciate the
Yes.
vision, but before we start tweaking molecules, let's. But I think it will be
Yes.
interesting, and I think it might take a minute because it's currently high spec stuff, and I think it
Yes.
will remain. And it's the trend. Correct me if I'm wrong. Seems to be going hotter and deeper,
Yes.
right? And so
Absolutely.
that's obviously it touches a lot of different supplier base. So
Absolutely. And there's so much that you gain from going even just a little bit hotter, but then to those
yes,
much higher temperatures as far as sustainability of your infrastructure. So being able to maybe you spend a bit more drilling to those deeper depths, but the amount of power you get per
exponentially higher.
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
So getting the technology that will enable and unlock that. I mean, if we could test it at the Utah Forge site, go to those deeper, higher temperatures, you'd have an immediate adopter right next
Right,
door,
right.
probably,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's like, hey,
Yeah.
if this works and it
They're
makes
keeping
the
one eye open.
electricity
Exactly. Yeah.
exactly. So, but we can't expect the price to be over $100 a megawatt for very long.
Right. And do you think that vis-a-vis Forge, do you think that, or do you have other assets throughout the state where you would exploit and try something different there? Or are you pretty much going to keep it all where you are right now?
Well, we have a great opportunity with our already built infrastructure
Hmm.
at the Utah Ford site.
Sure.
That being said, we did just participate in the recent DOE round at different
Yes.
locations. So the opportunity to partner in other geologies, other geographies, is something that the University of Utah is very interested in. And what better way to expand our learnings and our experience than to help other test sites develop.
Take it
Um,
international.
it's an and situation rather than an or for me.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I think we need to go to more locations and create more data and generate new knowledge in different areas. But I also think that we've invested significantly in the Utah Ford site.
I'm
It's
not kicking you out. I'm just,
extremely
I'm just, I'm
no,
just,
it's extremely well
right.
characterized. We have this surface facility now, so yeah, as I said, and rather than or, I
Of
think both
course.
things could be
Yeah.
very crucial to the industry.
Is there anything else? I mean, what do you think that what else do people need to know about Utah Forge that you think that they may not already know?
I think we have a very small team and have
Hmm.
achieved extremely great things from it. But I think it is largely because we have this huge network of experts that we can leverage and talk to.
Right.
What I really want people to know about Utah Forge is how open we are to new ideas, new ways of thinking. And so don't hesitate to reach out if you say, hey, I have this great new drilling technology that I think is going to, reduce
Yeah.
50%
We've
even
had it
over
in the
what you've
Skunk
got.
Works lab for a while, but we're
Exactly.
trying to find somebody to run with it. Yeah.
Exactly. So it doesn't necessarily mean we can pull it in the current phase of Forge,
Sure.
but having that catalog of opportunity is really helpful for thinking about what the next phases of Utah Forge might be. And then also with that massive network, we might be able to help you place your technology with another test site.
Yeah. And
And
now going back to Joe, is he out, or do you still have his
oh
home number?
no,
And you
he
occasionally ring him like, hey, I've got a crazy idea.
yeah, so Joe is still on halftime,
Okay.
thankfully. It was a really nice thing that the University of Utah and the Forge Project was able to sustain him in the transition.
Right.
But that being said, I think we've gotten to the point now where he gets to just do the really fun things instead of
Yes. It's all frosting. Yeah.
exactly. And so yes, absolutely. He's in the office a couple days a week.
They haven't kicked him
He's
out yet. Joe,
Oh,
it's closing
absolutely
time. You
not.
got to go.
No.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, even after he does retire at the end of the year, he
It's in
will.
that guy's blood. I mean,
Yes.
in his office, I haven't been in since you've transitioned, but like, you go in the office and like all of the magazine covers
Oh yeah,
from the last decades that he's been involved with, like, wow,
absolutely.
that's some really
Yes.
deep stuff. Yeah. But it's,
I mean, yeah, he having him as a resource and then being able to come back and sort of take over this amazing project is really the dream. It's one of those once in a lifetime experiences.
have you started to hang your stuff on the walls?
I I don't know. I don't have quite the magazine cover, we'll get there,
We'll get
but
there.
yes.
Yeah, for sure. But it's exciting. Thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Any other closing thoughts? Anything you want anybody to know?
No, I just think we need to all work together to realize the
Agreed.
dream of geothermal
Yeah.
everywhere. So really looking forward to how this industry is going to evolve and seeing all the new players entering, building this community even stronger. It's going to be a great decade.
Yeah. Thanks again for coming.
Yeah,
I
thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.
Thank you.